Yes, 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 yo. Welcome back to another episode of the Chicago Bridge Magazine podcast. It's the live show, and it's your boy King Hoff. I regret that I'm 17 minutes late for today's show. I know you guys were anticipating the long-awaited return of your favorite podcast host, the King Hoff. So we're gonna get right into the show, ladies and gentlemen. We are here today, and we are pleased to introduce the world. Well, the world already knows who this man is, so let's reintroduce him to the world as who he is. And it wouldn't be right. It wouldn't be right if I didn't introduce him the best way that I know how, which is with the greatest intro in the world. You know what I mean? So, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we are pleased to introduce you to a Chicago native, the son of immigrant parents. My guy here is one of many children that his immigrant parents decided to have, but that does not take away from the fact that each and every single one of them are special because they're all doing extraordinary and amazing things. But he just so happens to doing extraordinary, special, and amazing things. At just 13 years old, he was enrolled into the I'm sorry, I hope I don't say this right, Barbizon. There you go. The Barbizon Modeling Agency. And he, from that point on, took his career and his craft seriously. He went on to release a album, a full EP, and not only released a full EP, taking his musical skills to the next level, he actually honed even deeper into his skills as an actor and has been featured on multiple shows, multiple television shows and series because of who he is and the seriousness and dedication in which he takes his craft is why he is here with the Chicago Bridge Magazine and being featured with us. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna shut up and stop talking because y'all don't care about what I have to say. You only care about who we are talking to today. And ladies and gentlemen, we're speaking with none other than the extraordinary and otherworldly, the living legend himself, Andre Bellos. How you doing today, sir?
Hey everybody, thank you so much for having me. Thank you for that intro.
Of course,
That was
of course,
fantastic. Thank you.
of course, of course. Give me 1 second. In a hasty rush, what did I not do? I didn't put headphones in.
Oh, you
So
are good, my friend.
So to avoid destroying the audio quality for our listeners and getting that feedback, I'm gonna put some headphones in. All right, there we go. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Perfect, perfect. Yeah, sometimes when you plug in the headphones, the sound gets messed up. But that's neither here nor there. Thank you for taking the time out to be with us today. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for sharing the platform. Thank you for having me. I'm super grateful and I'm very honored to be on the show.
Of course, I'm honored to have you. I'm honored to have the opportunity to sit down and speak with you, man. Just doing my research about you. You are very accomplished. So first and foremost, well, I'm gonna give you your roses as you should, as you deserve them later on in the show and as the show goes on, obviously. But I just want to say thank you for taking the time out to sit out with me here and take some time out to sit down and share your story and your journey with the Chicago Bridge Magazine and its followers. Now, how has been treating you and the family? Hopefully, not too affected with COVID. You guys are coming through strong. Not too many illnesses.
Yeah, first and foremost, my heart goes out to everybody in the world that has lost someone to COVID. It's a terrible, terrible disease. I thankfully my friends and family. Some of us did get COVID, some of us did not, but thankfully we were all able to pull through. Um, I dealt with it just like anybody else dealt with it, I wanted to follow the rules. And really, it was a matter of finding a new routine for that time. I know right now we're kind of getting back to our normal routine or as normal as it can get. I know Dr. Fauci mentioned that, the new finish line is possibly next spring, and I respect
Hmm.
that. And I do trust Dr. Fauci. Um, but I dealt with it like everyone else dealt with it. I was bored. I was going out of my mind. I thought, what can I do? But something that kept me grounded was the fact that I was not ill and that my friends and family were not ill. And I thought, I have to figure out a way to keep my career going during this pandemic, especially if I'm not ill, and be a force of good. And I just have to, because what else can I do? I mean, just sit here basically. So I got pretty creative and found some different outlets and avenues to express myself and get my message out there. And I have to tell you, it has literally led to one of the greatest moments in years so far in my career, stemming from all the virtual work I did over the pandemic. And looking back, I'm so grateful that I had done it. And I was grateful at the time too, because it was giving me purpose. I was waking up and getting ready and getting on the Zoom or whatever it was and doing
Mm-hmm.
what I needed to do. So, and it's nice to see people in person, although the virtual is still good too.
Yes. That is, I'm so glad that you were one of those people that were not reactive, that you guys, not reactive, that you were one of the individuals that weren't reactive, but you actually saw an opportunity to take a step back and flourish in the opportunity that was given to you to actually focus on yourself and maybe take another look at what, life has been giving you. Because a lot of people took the pandemic, took the additional unemployment money that they were getting, took the PPP loan scam route, which we're not even going to get into. That's neither here nor there. But you actually, use the time throughout this pandemic, throughout the lockdown, to actually, hone in and take your craft and your career to another level. Now, I actually kind of want to take it back a little bit to the beginning, where it all started. We mentioned at the top of the show that you have you're the son of immigrant parents, Greek and Salvatorian. So Greek, I know the Greek culture is very, very, that you guys, the Greek culture is very ingrained in its philosophies. Now, can you tell me, how was it growing up, under the roof of a Greek and Salvatorian home? Because even in, even in El Salvador, Salvatorian people, they have certain philosophies as well. So I know the cultures aren't exactly the same. So how was it living under that roof where there's, two different cultures but still kind of meshing them together?
Thanks for the question. I've never been asked that. It was fun, it was a multicultural home. My mom was Hispanic and my dad was Greek. So back in those days, that was considered an interracial marriage. And my dad was previously married before he met my mom to a Greek woman. So he had two kids, my older brother and sister. And then with my mom, it's me and my younger brother and sister. And it was a blended family at core. And even before it was, I guess, popular really. But uh, we went through all the same things a regular family would go through. We loved hard, we fought hard, and it was hard in the beginning because it was a matter of getting along with our older brother and sister and recognizing at a young age that our dad had a family before us. So there was definitely some friction there. I think the older brothers and sisters felt that, he was forgetting about them and creating a new life. So my dad went to great lengths to keep all us kids tight. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't, but he did try his best. Growing up, my dad was in my life, but he was the worker in our household. He worked every single day at 5 o'clock in the morning and sold pickles out of a truck. And for the first 15 years of my life, my mom did not. So although my dad was there paying all the bills, my mom was there with me day to day, every single second, minute, hour, raising me. And my mom, being a Hispanic woman, was extremely strict. So it was tough, but looking back, I do find a silver lining in it because there have been so many things that I have been able to take with me on my journey and throughout my career that has served me a great deal. Not just things that I learned from my mom being strict on me growing up, but also things that I learned at different jobs I held coming up. I worked everywhere. I worked at Dunkin' Donuts. I worked at Togo's. I worked at Subway. I worked at the airport. And
The airport.
every job taught me something that I've been able to take with me on my journey, and it has served me a great deal.
No, of course, and that man, it's interesting you bring that up because I know with Greek, I'm not Greek myself, but I do have Greek friends, and I know in the Greek households, the boys are pretty much taken care of by the mom. Like literally everything is done. I have a Greek friend who growing up would tell me stories about his mom would pick his clothes out, wash his clothes for him, always make sure he's fed, even up until he's now 30 some odd years old. He doesn't go over there without being fed. She makes sure he's fed. She makes sure he has groceries in the house. Like the women in the Greek cultures take care of their kids. So to have your dad be Greek and your mom be Hispanic from El Salvador, it's crazy because Hispanic women, they take care of their kids. Don't get me wrong, they coddle their boys to a certain extent, but nothing comparative to what Greek women would do for their kids. So this that just that dynamic to me is very unique. I should say that's the word I want to use, unique, because just like you said, your mom was very strict. She had certain rules, she had certain philosophies, she stood by certain ideologies she stood for, and those definitely kind of helped you be the person that you are today. Now, who would you say you got your work ethic from? Because again, to
Hmm.
to join a modeling agency and graduate 15 weeks later, I kind of left that part, but to graduate 15 weeks later from your school, you had to be putting in a lot of serious work. You had to be focused and dedicated and driven. And you mentioned your dad being somebody who was out of the house. He was active as a father, but he was always working. You know what I mean? So who do you think you got your drive from? Was it your mom instilling those certain core values in you, or was it just seeing your dad get up and put the work boots on and go sling those pickles out the truck?
I think it was both of my parents. Both of my parents have great work ethic. My mom grew up to a family of farmers.
Hmm.
Um, and my dad, we don't know too much about his dad because he never talks about it, but I believe my grandmother didn't work, and my step grandfather was like a local boxer in his town. But I think I got my work ethic from both of my parents. Both of my parents are hard workers, and they're not scared to do work, and they're not scared of any job. Um, I think for me, though, my drive came from people underestimating me. So growing up, I was bullied by not only my peers, but even some of my family members. And there were all kinds of things that people would say to me. But one thing that would stick out to me would be people just making fun of me or laughing at me or mocking me for what I wanted to do as I got older. I knew from 5 years old I wanted to be in the entertainment business. So if we were in a class setting and they were like, "Hey guys, what do you guys want to be when you grow up?" And maybe someone was like, "I want to be a police officer," and someone said, "I want to be an architect," and I would say, "Well, I want to be an actor." And everyone would start laughing at me. And I think it's because we've just been programmed that's like winning the lottery. So don't expect something like that to happen. Pick something that's more of a technical route and more of a for sure thing, and know that you can survive and pay your bills. And I totally respect that, and that's how my parents taught me when I was growing up. But I never really accepted that as the gospel, and I never accepted that as the truth, because I knew that my life was mine and I could create my life how I saw fit. So um that drove me to be the best and to never give up and to really just go for it and do it. To this day, that continues to drive me. Anytime I'm feeling weak, I'm like, you know, not to sound like DJ Khaled, but they want you weak.
Yeah,
They don't want you to win.
that's a
so
fact.
and for me it's so real because I know growing up I know the things that people used to say to me. So I was like, no, that is real facts. Like, they don't want you to win. They do want you to be down and out. They do want you to be sad. So the best thing you can always do is keep going, and wherever that keep going leads you to is your destiny. And I'm so grateful that for me, my desires have matched up with God's desires for me. That's all that we can really ask for in life, except for health,
Hmm.
is that your desires match up with God's desires. Whatever God wants you to do, you can only pray that it's what you want to do also. In a world where normally our voices are silenced, I've been given a platform and I've been given a microphone, and I don't take that for granted.
That's a fact, man. That is a fact, and you shouldn't take it for granted. And honestly, I'm glad that you said what you said about keep going, because take it, take it, take it from me as somebody who's dealt with a lot of the similar things, some adversities, getting over certain hurdles, dealing with people not believing in you, even still to this day, not believing in some of the things that we do, some of the platforms that we're part of. You know, it's challenging, and you really do have to be your biggest engine. You have to drive yourself and find that energy within yourself every single day to get up, keep pushing forward, go to the next audition, read that next script, memorize those next lines, get into the booth, get in front of the mic, put the headphones on, and belt out that song, put those cadences on wax. Like, you have to find that within yourself. So I'm glad that you mentioned that, because our parents do a lot for us growing up. We watch them, and they are the ones who kind of put the key in the engine. But at the end of the day, we're the ones who turn the engine on and keep that bad boy running. You know what I mean? So I'm really glad that you brought that up, man. Keep going, people. I know people are watching this, listening right now. Like, you might be doubting yourself. You might be
Mm.
doubting, can you do this? Is this right for me? If God has this in line for you, if it's already written in God's plan, it's already a matter of time. It's destined. You just got to wait for it. You got to work towards it. I should say, not wait for it. Now, speaking of working towards it, we mentioned your time at the Barbizon Modeling School. Now, you graduated 15 weeks later. Now, being in that school, I often feel like, when you immerse yourself or surround yourself in the environment in which you, or the world in which you want to thrive, it's when you actually do start to succeed and start to see certain green flags, if you will. So, do you think that there was a benefit for you to going to this modeling school as opposed to just going to a regular, private school or public school that focused more on general studies?
Yeah, so I actually went to both because my mom was not having it. I was going to both. I went to public school and I went to modeling school. So I was
Mm,
going to public school in the morning and then I was going to modeling school in the evening.
that
And
work ethic, man.
I don't know how I got even looking back, I don't know how I got my mom to agree to that and pay for it, but she did. She did agree to it and she paid for it. And my mom is like a regular mom. You know, in her mind, the schoolwork came first. And I was so focused on my modeling school and I enjoyed it so much that I didn't even want to go to regular school anymore and I didn't want to do my homework and my grades began to suffer. And my mom was like, as soon as you're done with that school, I would pull you out, but I already paid for it and I can't get my money back. She was like, but as soon as you are done, she was just like, you are not doing that entertainment stuff anymore. She's like, you need to be focused on school because um I I was more focused on breaking into the entertainment business than I was on my studies. And I guess it's normal, like any parent, she didn't like that. And it really upset her. But it upset her so much so where she was just like, well, you're not doing that anymore. I think my mom thought that if she allowed me to do it, um, every other aspect of my life would improve in the way that she wanted it to. Like, oh, I put him in modeling school, so now he'll feel, urged to always pass that test and to always do his homework. And I was just a regular kid. I was like, oh my God, I cannot believe I convinced my mom to enroll me in a school for entertainers. And I'm literally 13 years old. I mean, and everybody I was going to school with were all adults. So it really opened my eyes into the business and what it really was about at a young age. And although it spooked me a little bit, I still felt compelled. So I knew that this is what I was supposed to be doing. After I graduated Barbizon, my mom was not kidding. It was school, 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 school. And the funny thing is my grades didn't improve at all
Mm,
after leaving the modeling school. So I got I tried to pass, and then I got involved in everything I could get involved in the school and in the neighborhood, in the community, in the park district, the local dance shows and talent shows and plays and musicals, just to have an outlet and just to be able to continue to do it. Um, I don't know that that necessarily changed my mom's mind, but I know, like you said, for me, it was never about changing my parents' mind. I recognized that this was my dream, and the only one that needed to understand it was me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've always wanted to do it. Now, whether my parents supported me or not, for me, really was not here nor there. Of course, it would have been great to have the support, but also not having it didn't deter me. I knew that this was my destiny, and if I wanted it, then I would have to go for it.
Yeah. I could feel your passion. I really can feel your passion when you talk about, growing up and some of the things you had to do or not do, some of the things you had to deal with just to kind of get to the point where you can actually do the thing that you love doing the most. Like where did that passion come from at such a young age? Like where did that drive, that determination to say, this is what I want to do. Like this entertainment industry, music, dancing, singing, like being a performer, making people, smile, making people laugh, making people feel. Why is that so important to you?
Um, God, that's such a great question. I don't know, because I didn't even realize that I had been given such a responsibility until maybe recently. And I didn't realize how many people were actually following me and listening to me and hanging on to every word I said. Growing up, I was bullied. So I have gone to the exact opposite extreme of that now as an adult.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I'm grateful to have that responsibility. Um, and I don't take it lightly. Uh, but in the beginning, I never knew that would come about. I just knew that this is what I loved and this is what I wanted to do. I don't know where that drive comes from. I even asked myself, how did you know at 5 years old you wanted to be in the entertainment business? I literally have no idea. I think it's just one of those seeds that's planted into your head and heart from the universe at birth. Um, but I know that growing up, I used to love the greats like Michael Jackson and Janet and Prince and Elvis and Judy Garland and Audrey Hepburn and Clark Gable and Marilyn Monroe, and the list goes on and on and on. And I just knew that I wanted to be great one day like them, and I wanted to be remembered one day like them. And they all had different stories, but one common thread through all their stories was they all decided what they wanted to do. They went after it and they worked harder than everybody and anybody else. And that's why they ended up in the history books. And not to say that I was necessarily looking at it like that at such a young age, thinking about ending up in the history books. Of course, I think about that now as an adult, but as a kid, I just thought, okay, so if I want to be like them, I have to work hard. So there was, it was actually Chicago Bridge magazine. And I hope I'm not, it's a spoiler, so I apologize. But one of the questions was, who do you want to give a shout out to? And I go, I want to shout out my mother and father for birthing me, but I want to shout out Oprah, Ellen, and Steve Harvey for raising me.
Mm.
Because growing up, especially once I became older, my mom went back to work and my dad was always working. So it was me as a kid, babysitting my younger brother and sister. But I spent a lot of time watching TV and watching music videos and watching MTV. And I really got raised by the television, I'm sure as most kids did. And I'm just grateful that the people that I really connected and attached myself to during those years, and looking back, they were pivotal years. I don't know if my parents even knew that. I don't know if parents do know that. I don't even know if parents know pivotal years. Maybe they do now. But man, those years were pivotal.
Mm.
And I spent a lot of time watching Oprah, and I spent a lot of time watching Ellen, and I spent a lot of time watching Steve Harvey, and I'm just so grateful that I did.
Nah, I'm grateful that you did too, man. Sometimes people, look back, like people nowadays are looking at their kids on tablets and thinking, "Oh, this is gonna be destroying the minds of our youth, and this, that, and the third." And it's like, if you really think about it, like we grew up watching Jerry Springer, Ellen DeGeneres, Steve Harvey, all these different people on television, and these people are inspirations. Especially if you look outside of the television landscape and actually get to peel back the layers of who these individuals are, what the exact works that they do in and outside of the community and in the entertainment industry. They're multifaceted individuals. So, yeah. I shout out to Steve Harvey and Ellen DeGeneres for doing what you did for Andre, because without your guidance, we wouldn't have this man. You know what I mean? So thank you. Now, you are a triple threat. We mentioned you are an entertainer. So you sing, you dance, and you are an actor as well. Now, you actually released an album in 2013 called Mythology. Can we talk about, that album and the importance of that album for your career? Why was it important for you to release that album? Because the words highly anticipated are attached to the album. So that means people were looking for it. People wanted it. So why is this album so important to your career, and what exactly did it take for you to finally get this put together and out as a final product for the people?
So I always have had a passion for doing music. I grew up loving and wanting to be just like Michael Jackson. Um, but growing up, people always told me that I did not have a good voice. And I felt determined to still put a musical project together. And that's when Mythology came out in 2013. And we released several songs. And there's one song in particular that did really well. It was called Explode, along with another song that was half English and half Spanish called Otra Vez, which just stands for Try It Again.
Hmm.
But I think for me, music was um was little Andre's dream, and I think as I became an adult, I got more into the acting. I got more serious about the acting, and I realized that if I wanted to be this legendary actor one day, like Al Pacino or Robert De Niro or Joe Pesci, or so many of the greats, I thought I got to get really serious about my acting. I don't know that I can be splitting my time between the acting and the music. And I prefer the acting right now. And maybe the music will come down the road. Or my sister-in-law always used to say, maybe you get an acting role that allows you to do some singing and dancing. And recently I've had that opportunity. Um, but it was very exciting to put together that project. It had mixed reviews, but we were able to produce a couple local hits from it. Um, and it was such a long time ago, but people to this day, obviously, ask me about it. So I know that it has connected with a certain group of people. Um, I had released a one-off single called Trina back in 2019, which did pretty well overseas in the Philippines. But since then, I hadn't really had any new plans to make new music. Now, that's currently where I still stand, but never say never, because I think that there are a certain group of people out there that enjoyed it and want to hear more of it. But I have not forgotten about the music. I've just been so focused on the acting, and I want to do such a great job, because I feel so blessed and humbled to be accepted by the acting community of America, really.
Hmm.
And I just want to make them proud. And I feel like whatever's meant to be will be. If it's meant for me to do some more music, then I will. If it's meant for me to do the acting, then I will. And it seems like it's meant for me to do the acting, or to be a personality of some sort. I get referred to a lot as a influencer, and I wear that as a badge of honor. And I know that wherever I end up, I definitely want to end up um being a personality and doing some type of work in the entertainment business. I would love to be a film star.
Hmm.
um but I also know that there's other avenues for me that can be great as well. Doing something in television.
No, of course, and I'm honestly, I actually wanted to ask you, if it was a hard decision to choose to say, I'm gonna go full throttle on this acting, as opposed to the music, because like you said, the music was more so a little Andre's dream. And I think most of our dreams are, rooted in what we wanted to do as children. Most of the things that we are passionate about are rooted in something from our childhood. So was it like a hard decision for you to say, you know what, I'm gonna kind of walk away from the dream I've always had as a little kid, to be a singer and a pop star, and focus more on the acting and be one of the greatest actors that I could possibly be coming out of the city of Chicago?
It was a hard decision because I didn't want to give up on the music and I love to dance. And I thought, well, how can I still showcase my dancing? But now we have things like TikTok where we can do all those kind of fun dance videos. But it was a very hard decision. It was not an easy decision, and it did not happen overnight. But I have to say, I'm grateful that I made it because it has allowed me to put my focus in other areas.
Hmm.
And I have definitely seen the result of that focus. But I love music and I'm a music lover and I always will be. And never say never. You never know if I do something down the road.
Of course. No, I mean, honestly, I think it's gonna happen. You don't we may step away from the things that we loved as children for a brief moment, just to kind of be adults, if you will. And I throw those quotation marks in there just because we're all children at heart. But be adults and have to do adult things and focus on the realities of life, if you will. But I think at some point, I know at some point, you're gonna go back to the music and you're gonna recreate some music and put some music out there that people are really gonna connect to. People are gonna feel, and it's gonna help people through some real shit. Excuse my language, people. But it's gonna help people through some real things, man. Because that's the purpose of music, is to help people feel. And if people all the way in the Philippines connected with their music, people out here, even if it's a niche group of people, some of the greatest stars, some of my favorite rappers, Mac Miller, Wiz Khalifa, Currency. These guys have a niche group of fans. And all you really need is 1,000 true fans to really
Hmm.
to really make you a millionaire. I'm not gonna lie to you. There's actually a book out there. Forget the person who wrote it. It's called 1,000 True Friends, and it talks about how having 1,000 people who actually equitably support you, whether it's buying your merch, watching your shows, sharing your content, is going to translate to $1 million a year just off of making sure that you have 1,000 people who support you and genuinely care about you. You know what I mean? Because those 1,000 people are gonna spread your message to their friends, and now 1,000 turns to 100,000, just like that. You know what I mean? So, 1,000 True Fears.
Wow.
If you haven't read it, I definitely suggest you check that out. It's a small little pamphlet too.
Yeah, I'm gonna check it out. You just sparked my interest.
Yeah, definitely, man. And I actually have a question. This is a one-off question, but it popped into my head now because you're a triple threat. So, if you had to choose between, and I hate to make you choose, but if you had to choose between winning either a Emmy, a Tony, or an Oscar, or a Grammy,
Oh my God.
which one would be the most, which one would you choose, and which one would mean the most to you? A Emmy, Tony, Oscar, or Grammy?
So my most ambitious dream is to be an EGOT winner because one of my idols is Whoopi Goldberg.
Shout
Um,
out to the Queen Whoopi.
hmm, that's such a tough question. So right off the bat, I think I would love to win an Oscar,
Mm,
but I also know winning a Grammy would mean the most because growing up, I was told I did not have a voice. But also winning an Emmy would be great. An Emmy is the Oscar of television. An Oscar is just an Oscar. And a Grammy is the Oscars of music. So, I'm telling you, I would love to be an EGOT winner one day, but if I really had to choose, probably an Oscar, but maybe a Grammy would mean the most, just because so many people along the years have been like, you suck at singing, blah, 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 blah. So you never know.
yeah. Yeah. So actually, so I want to know how you dealt with those people. I want to call them the haters, the naysayers, the people who kind of push back at your dreams. You know how you, because I'm pretty sure you still encounter those individuals to this day. I know I do. I know people who do. So it's not to say that they just dissipated and went away once you know reach a certain level. If anything, they multiplied. So how do you nowadays deal with the people who kind of push back at your dreams, you know, who say that you can't sing or you're not a good actor or you're never going to be an EGOT? You know, what's the message you have for people who may be dealing with those similar type of individuals? What kind of advice could you give them?
I just ignore it because there's no sense in wasting your energy on that. Um, there's always going to be somebody that doesn't agree or pushes back. And that's fine because we need those people too. You need a healthy balance of good and bad. I've always ignored it. I know when I was young, I ignored it out of fear. But then as I became an adult, I realized that I should continue ignoring it and now just ignore it out of, you know, intelligence. But my advice to anybody facing adversity is ignore it. Now, if you are being bullied, if you are feeling like your life is being threatened, you have to tell somebody so you can receive that help. Violence is never the answer. But I think that you have to move in silence and you have to let your success be your noise. You have to let your success do the talking for you. Your success is going to get in the ring and fight for you. I never have anything to say about anybody. My energy and focus is in my career and my next big thing. I'm never looking to get revenge on anybody. I'm always looking for what is my next big thing. Success is the best revenge. The truth is, the best thing you can do is make it. And those people that weren't fond of you, don't include them. And if you feel so compelled to include them, that's godly of you. But don't ever forget.
Exactly. Don't ever forget. Please. I'm glad and you said it so perfectly. That's godly of you because it takes a special kind of individual to know that this person did something wrong. This person didn't believe in me. This person thought less of me, less thought less of me than I did of myself and the people around me who care about me. But yet, you know what? There's no ill will, there's no malicious intent. I still want to see you succeed and I still want to see you be great and I still want to see you shine. There's God in every single one of us people. We just got to look internally and find it because there's a certain art to being humble. And Andre, I think you mastered that art, you know, very, very well. Now, you actually are a very fashionable person. Just doing my research on you, doing my Googles, my Instagram searches and Facebook searches, I see that you are a very fashionable individual. As a matter of fact, I kind of caught a glimpse of the shirt that you're wearing right now. If you don't mind, can you give it a low, like a little low? Because it's dope. I like the color scheme. Is that like it's
It's
fire?
a robe.
It's a robe,
It's a
really?
robe.
Okay, okay. Well, it's fire. I like it, and it's a fashionable robe. You know what I mean? So, where do you get your fashion sense from? Do you have a stylist? Is there somebody who kind of says, you know what, we're gonna work with you on making sure that when you're out, because you've been featured on Steve Harvey, you've been featured on a bunch of different shows. So when you're out, do you have a stylist that kind of dresses you, or do you dress yourself?
I do. I do have a stylist. Her name is Dee. She's from the south side of Chicago, where all the styles at. No, I'm just kidding. But where most of it is at. And she really helps me kind of guide me down the right path. We get a lot of pieces from overseas, and she'll be like, hey, you got to stop by and check this out. I got this jumper, and I thought of you. Or I got this shirt, and I thought of you. Or I got these pair of shoes, and I thought of you. So she has helped me a great deal. And then someone else that I have to shout out is Christos Furs and Leathers in Westchester, Illinois. And he really has helped me take my vision to a new height. And he has really dressed me in pieces that are extremely high end that I could never afford on my own. But he has made these pieces with my vision in mind. And I'm very grateful for it because growing up, I always loved fashion. I always used to, sit in the magazine aisle at Walgreens or Walmart and go through the pages of Vanity Fair, Vogue, and look at all the stars and how regal they looked. And I was like, oh my God, I want to look like that one day and I want to dress like that one day. And, even just the way Michael Jackson dressed was such an inspiration for me because I thought it was so cool and I wanted to look cool like that. And it's really crazy that people are starting to look at me and having respect for my fashion because that's a part of my dream that I've always wanted as well. Like I said, I grew up and I wanted to be a fashion icon, just like the other stars were. And I just it's just very humbling and cool to think that I might be on that path.
No, you're definitely on that path, brother. You're definitely on that path. You're doing the right thing. Shout out to D. Shout out to the South Chicago, man. And I think that it's a collaborative effort between yourself and D when it comes to putting together certain looks and certain styles. So give yourself some credit. Give yourself some credit, Dre. You got this. You know what
Thank
I
you.
mean? Of course, of course. Now, I actually want to get into a little bit of the acting. Now, you were featured on Chicago PD, which is one of my favorite shows. Now, when you talk about the acting, I actually just want to ask you, I know that role, that's the time on that show was an amazing time. I know you enjoyed yourself, and I'm pretty sure you'll be back very, very soon. Now, I actually have to ask you who your dream collaboration would be as far as directors, and what role would be your dream role? Would it be, say, sci-fi horror, or would it be a biopic? If it is a biopic, who would you want to play? So let's kind of get into that. So, who is your dream collaboration as far as a director, and what would your dream role be?
I have a lot of dream collaborations as directors. I love um, Steven Spielberg and James Cameron and Quentin Tarantino.
Oh, I love
And
Quentin
that's just to
Tarantino.
name a few. I love them all. Um, I think my dream role, well, I have a few. I would love to play a superhero like Batman. Um, I would love to, um,
You got the
I would
jawline to
love,
be a Batman for sure.
well, I also would love to be a James Bond. I think the role is so iconic, and I think the actors that have done it over the years have really just been the best of the best. I don't know if it'll ever happen one day, but I'm putting it out there and I'm planting the seed. I would love to be James Bond and one day and be a part of that history and franchise. Really, um, I think my biggest dream would be to play Desi Arnaz in a biopic, and I just really love him, and he's one of my idols. And I know that, um, being half Hispanic and means that much more to me. Before Desi Arnaz, um, Latinos were not allowed on television, at least not on mainstream television. So he really helped break down that barrier. And he is the reason why myself and so many other people that come from a Hispanic background are allowed to live their dreams on mainstream television. We had Spanish television back in the 50s, but that's exactly what it was, reserved for Spanish speaking people in Spanish speaking countries with Spanish speaking actors, and just to have all cultures be represented now in mainstream is beautiful. Of course, we need more of it, but we're on the right path.
Definitely, that is 100% fact. I see. I like that. That is you threw me a curveball with that one right there. The James Bond series. I could see you in the James Bond. I think Batman is fire. Batman's fire. He's my personal favorite Superman. I have a couple Batman T-shirts around here somewhere. And you definitely have the jawline to fill out the Batman, costume. It's all in the jawline. Everyone who's
Thank
played
you.
Batman has had
All
good,
the time.
strong jawlines. You know what I mean? So I think it's more than possible. It's more than doable. Now I got to give you some roses before I ask you the final question before I let you go because I've kept you entirely too long. I
No, it's
do
fine.
apologize.
No.
Now, um, so I want to thank you for sharing your gift with the world. It's not something that is easy for people to put themselves out there. A lot of people, watch television. They scour Instagram and Facebook and TikTok and Twitter and whatever the social media they use, and look at these people, and they feel like, life is so easy, being an actor, being a singer, being a dancer, being anyone in the entertainment industry. They look at that as, just like you mentioned earlier, it's the golden ticket. It's one in a million, and they often overlook the hard work that goes into it, the sacrifice that goes into it. You at the age of 13 were not only going to regular school to learn, general studies, you were actually enrolled in modeling school as well. So you were taking on two tasks at the age of 13 years old, which most 13-year-olds are only focused on getting out of school, going home and watching 106 in Park, and hanging, you know what I mean, and hanging out with their friends. So you took the initiative to not only work on your craft and hone in on your abilities, and you took it a step further and you put it out there for the world and for the
Mm,
people. And you don't know who you could have potentially affected. You don't know how many lives you could have potentially have changed with the
mhm,
roles that you've taken on, or even the songs and the music that you've put out. You know what I mean? So just thank you so much for putting yourself out there for the world, and doing it so graciously, doing it so humbly, and just being the person you are, being a genuine individual. I don't know you personally, but just through the short conversation we've had, I feel like you're a genuine individual, and I'm a vibe individual. Like, I go based off of energies, and the energy you're giving off is really, really, really great energy. So thank you so much for sharing your gift with the world. Thank you so much for being who you are. And let's remove these doubt words. I hate doubt words. I hate if, I hate what if, I hate possibly or maybes. We don't doubt words anymore. You are going to be great. You are going to be an EGOT. You are going to put out music that's going to change people's lives, and you are going to be somebody that's going to influence a lot of people growing up. Some people who may not even
mm,
be born yet, you're already going to
mm.
be influencing them. So just keep that in mind, because we are all capable of great things. You are capable of great things because you're doing great things every single day. So thank you for being who you are, and I appreciate you so much.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. That made me emotional, but I'm so grateful. And, I just hope I can keep doing what I'm doing for a really long time.
You definitely will, man. You definitely will. And before I let you go, I have to ask you the most important question of all the questions. When it's all said and done, and you're looking out over the landscape of your life, the life that you created for yourself, what do you want your legacy to stand for? When people hear the name Andre Bellos, what do you want them to think of?
I just want people to look at me as an all around entertainer. But deeper than that, I really want people to look at me as a lover of life and a lover of mankind and a community activist. And I would love for people to say, um, Andre Bellos made me believe that my dream is possible, so I went for it. So, for however many people I can inspire to go after what they really want in life, I believe is my true legacy.
That's what I'm talking about. I love that, man. I love that. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to be with me today, have this conversation. I know how it is. Studio stage set, man. The three S's, studio stage set. So thank you for taking the time out to sit with us here at the Chicago Bridge Magazine. I know you dropped a little spoiler, so people be on the lookout. The Andre Bellos issue is coming very, very soon. So you guys stay on the lookout for that. And please make sure you follow him on all social medias. Could you please let them know how they can follow you? Because you are an influencer of style and you are an influencer of grace. So please let them know exactly where they can find you, so they can kind of, be get a little peek into a little glimpse into the world that is Andre Bellos.
Yeah, of course. You guys can check me out on my brand new website, which is really easy. It's just my name, one word, andrebellos.com. I'm on all the social networking sites under the same name, Andre Bellos. Follow me, I will follow you back. And lastly, I just want to say to everybody listening, especially the young boys and girls of the world, don't let anybody tell you that it's too late to fulfill your destiny. The truth is, only you know what you're capable of. So go out into the world and be great. Thank you.
Facts of life, facts of life. And this has been the Chicago Bridge Magazine, helping to bridge the gap between the public figure and the person. It's your boy King Hoff. We are out of here. See you guys on Monday. We'll be back, and we guys, I promise you, you won't have another hiatus like the last time. I think it's been like a month since you guys last saw my ugly mug. So I promise you, I will be scaring your children with this face every single week, as I usually do. We are back. The Chicago Bridge Magazine is back. A conversation with the King Hoff is back. Thank you, Andre, for being with us today. And I cannot wait to have you back and have another conversation with you about the numerous amazing things you're going to be doing after this conversation is over. Let's stay in touch, and I'm definitely going to see if I'm going to go get the music, because I do radio too, and I'm going to get it to my DJ, and we're going to spin you on the radio
Oh,
station.
God bless
So
you.
why
God
not?
bless you.
Why not, right? I mean, hey, we here for each other, man. We all we got. It's the entertainment industry, man. So with that
Thank
being
you so
said,
much, King Hoff. Thank you.
of course, you have a wonderful day. Enjoy your weekend. I don't know what the weather is like out there, but it's a beautiful day out here. So I got some meetings to get to. Unfortunately, I can't enjoy the weather, but I hope you can enjoy the weather and get out and do something nice today. Peace.